guys, welcome to I.N.T.E.N.T. Today I have Naume, who's going to be taking us through her motherhood journey. We are on episode 2, this will be episode 2 of the motherhood journey in celebration of Mother's Day. Hi Naume,
Hi, Ronlin. How are you?
I'm good and you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Saying your name correctly.
It's Naume, actually,
Naume,
but I'm used to people just having an interpretation, so I'm used to it. But it's Naume. That's the
Naume.
pronunciation. Yes, Naume. Yes.
Okay, alright. So we're gonna have a bit of an icebreaker before you take us into like the background history of your motherhood journey. Can you describe motherhood in one word?
In one word, is that even possible? It'd have to be a compound word, like two words in one. Oh, phenomenal. I don't know.
Phenomenal. Okay, okay.
Mhm.
What makes it phenomenal?
Ooh, where do I even start? So, what makes it phenomenal? Just the word motherhood. I mean, it just brings such joy. And personally, as a person, it's such a growth. I mean, if you think your childhood, adulthood, and then motherhood, that's it's just all love. It's phenomenal. The amount of love that you receive from your children, first and foremost, just forget all the other stuff. In the end, it's all love, and it's fabulous. It's fine. It's chaotic. It can be all of that, but everybody can agree that you just get so much love from your children. So that's what makes it
Mm,
phenomenal. I don't think you can that kind of love, you can't even replicate it. You can't replicate it. I mean, you can travel around the world, you can have all the money. I don't have all the money. I haven't traveled around the world. I've traveled here and there, but I don't think those things can you can compare them to the love that you get from your children. It's
mm,
timeless, it's infinite, it's not materialistic. It's just a strong bond forever and ever. It's all from God. That's why things that are just naturally from God, you can't they're just phenomenal. They beyond that word even. So the love that you get from your children, I would say.
okay, okay, okay. So you're gonna take us through a brief background of
Mhm.
your journey. You can start.
Well, I became a mother at the age of 29 in 2017. That's like roughly 9 years ago. My first pregnancy, I was excited. It was planned. We planned it, even though we were in two different continents. But I strongly wanted to be a mother. I was engaged, so I told my husband, I'm getting off birth control. I want to get it out of my system, and soon as we get married, well, we were getting married. We already set a date for Lobola. That same year, everything was going to be done. So I said to him, I want to be pregnant the very next year, and it
Mm,
just, when I got off birth control, boom, it just happened with one of his visits. So I was in Durban,
mm,
he was in Dubai. So it was planned. It was beautiful. I was excited. It was just hard because I was away from everyone. At the time I was working in Durban in Hlanga. So it was a bit lonesome. I was alone. The morning sicknesses, but I had a roommate. She was great, but she's not family or anything. And when I wasn't feeling well, I just, for some reason, I liked tin fish and rice, and she would make that for me. I wouldn't eat anything else. I'd buy it. I'd buy something and not eat it. So yeah, we were excited about that first one, and all went well. But I think around about 6 months, yeah, then I started having 6 to 7 months. Yeah, I started having symptoms of what they call preeclampsia. I just started swelling up, but still my blood pressure was still okay. But the way I was swelling up was just abnormal. I mean, I just remember going to the mall to get bigger shoes. I didn't think much of it. I just thought, people swell. But I think at the time when I went to the doctor, it wouldn't show. it was probably there. If I had a monitoring, like a machine, I would have probably maybe picked it up at any random time of the day. But when I went to
Mm.
the doctor was like, "But you're fine." But I was just swelling up. That I think was the biggest sign. And then as the time went on, even people around me were like, "Are you okay? Like, you don't look okay, And I was like, "I'm
Mm.
fine. I feel fine. The doctor says I'm fine." So, you get monthly appointments. So you have to wait, and then you get that monthly appointment. And there was one where they found protein in my urine, and then I did the test, and then yeah, they said the results were fine. And later on, I found out they misread them. They underestimated them, or how can I put them? They downplayed what was happening. The urine. I think what it was showing was that it's increasing and moderate to increasing, something like that. So it wasn't worse. It wasn't on the last level, but they said the results are fine. So, okay,
Mm.
fast forward, then I'm back in Joburg, and yeah, the preeclampsia was getting worse, and yeah, it was just hectic from then on. I don't know if I should delve into that topic, but yeah, that's part of my background. That was the experience with the firstborn, but all came out fine. She was in hospital for 2 months and came out, and yeah, I was just that OCD mom. And then 2 years later, 2020, I fell pregnant with my second baby. Um, yeah, it was during COVID. We were all scared initially, but yeah, you get over the fear. Yeah, it was calm, beautiful pregnancy. They did put me on a slight aspirin to just in case that first high blood pressure situation happens, then it's
Mm.
a little bit more controlled. It's called Ectorin. So I was on that for my whole pregnancy. Yeah, it was a beautiful pregnancy. And then fast forward, is it 4 years later? Yeah, 2024, and I fell pregnant with my son. Yeah, he's now a year old. Yeah, motherhood has been, yeah, I feel like yeah, it's crazy because with me, it's been one after the other. So I haven't had a break. Ever since I started having children, I just feel like I've just been full on. I haven't had like a bounce back stage where I just
Mm.
do whatever I like. There's always been nappies. Okay, there was a little break between my previous one, the second and the third.
Mm.
With the first one, I think the first one, we it took quite some time for us to potty train her. I don't know why, but yeah. So they were both in nappies at some point, but
So you say you have 3 kids. The past 2 pregnancies were, would you describe it as much easier than the first? Simply because of your experience with preeclampsia. For those that don't know, a preeclampsia is the form of high blood pressure when you are pregnant. So it can happen when you are pregnant or just after you give birth. There is no cure at the moment. Normally, medical practitioners will tell you that the cure is to give birth. So that's why a lot of moms that do have preeclampsia are either induced or they go into a theater, they have an emergency C-section to try and prevent their blood pressure from increasing even more, where they can have a seizure, and it does have a high death. This is something very close to me because I also suffered from preeclampsia. Um, Unfortunately, mine led to HELLP syndrome, which is a severe form of preeclampsia. Um, so I can relate in terms of parts of your journey with your first child, because I also experienced it with my first child. From what I know, there is no criteria to say that, if you tick these boxes, you will get it. People that are extremely healthy get it. People that don't have a very healthy diet or lifestyle get it. There is no particular criteria. Um, at the moment, they are doing a lot of research because I'm not part of, but I follow the foundation that is trying to find better measures in handling preeclampsia because it is quite common. It's just that people don't speak about it. So that's why this episode is very, very important. Not to say it's more important than other episodes, but it's just that this is not talked about as much, especially in the non-white community. So I just want to speak more about that, about your first pregnancy, especially because you make a decision to have kids after that. And I know that it can be a very fearful process, a fearful journey. And some people actually like, you know what, I'm done. I don't want to go through that again because there is a possibility of it coming up again. So if you can
Mm-hmm.
just speak more about that. I know you wanted to delve into it, but you wanted to keep it as brief as possible. But I just want to speak more about that. So you say that you found out around about 6 to 7 months, which is the common window period. Um, Women finding out it's 6 months. Sorry, I have a bit of the flu. So I just want to speak more about that, about when you initially found out. How was it explained to you? Did you understand what the term meant? Did you understand the procedures that needed to be followed? What was your experience? Yeah. You don't need to name doctors or hospitals, just in terms of your experience from the time they told you this is what you have and this is what needs to be done.
Yeah, so I was that person that, like, I read a lot. I'm kind of I'm that person that, how can I put it? I already knew about preeclampsia before I had it, and I knew the symptoms. Even way before I fell pregnant, I was aware that there is something called preeclampsia, and just the
Mm,
general, like what you just explained, that there's no cure for it, and the only way to give birth is, I don't know anyone that's had it, but then I thought back and I'm like, one of my colleagues back in the days, I suspect she had it back in the
mm,
days. Now that I just put two and two together, and you know when you put two and two together and you remember, and unfortunately she, don't know, she lost her child. I in my
mm,
mind I'm like, she probably might have, because she was all swelled up. But
mm,
anyway, I was aware of it after, and it was like probably 3 years before I fell pregnant. I was aware of it, you know, and um, so, and I knew the symptoms. So when I started swelling up, around about 6 months, I knew the symptoms are protein in your urine, or the way they diagnose it is protein in your urine, number one, or
mm,
whichever one comes. It's actually high blood pressure. I think the doctors, when they see those numbers rise up, that's when they get, you know. So it's
mm.
that plus protein in your urine, and my understanding is that your kidneys are no longer working. Medical
They're
stuff,
no longer
but
functioning in the way that they're supposed to, your
in the
kidneys.
way that they're supposed to, because my understanding is that there isn't supposed to be protein in your urine. Yeah. So so having that prior knowledge, I was aware and I was monitoring myself. When I started swelling up, and when people ask, um are you okay? Like, this is not normal. And I'll say, but
Mm,
my blood pressure is fine. I don't have protein in my urine. I didn't know what else to account it to, because I presume you swell up because you retain water now in your body, because your kidneys are not working
mm,
properly. So,
mm,
um, looking back now, I probably, yeah, my blood pressure was probably up, maybe on the times that I didn't go to the doctor, because I didn't have a blood pressure machine with me. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So, when I was in Durban, I was going to doctors, about three of them. They have like a gynae partnership. They a bunch of gynecologists. So the one doctor, he would just say, oh, because my whole pregnancy is just saying everything is excellent, all your tests came out great, when you do all your tests at Lancet. So it was first the protein in my urine. When they found the protein in my urine, my blood pressure was still fine, you know
Mm.
then I did the protein test where you have to pee in a 2-liter bottle for the whole day, so that they collect your urine so that they can see, basically, if all your urine, how much of the protein it's got, how much. So I think it's just to measure how severe it is. So I did that, and yes, the doctors, yeah, I believe they misdiagnosed me when they said the results are fine, because I was really curious about the results. Um, they said my results are fine, and then, yeah, then I went to my next appointment. Um, I remember that day I was actually quite tired. I fell asleep, and then the doctor came out, and then they called me, and then that's the first day. That's the first time they saw my heart. Actually, I had a headache. I remember. Yeah, I actually didn't. It was not an appointment. I remember. I had a headache, and I said to my manager, I said, I'm gonna go see the doctor, because my mom was like, the way you are so swelled up, if you ever get a headache, you need to go to the doctor. That's what
Mm.
my mom said. And I remember calling her and I said, I have a headache. And she's like, go immediately to the doctor. So I didn't have an appointment that day. So I just told the guy, no, I'm not okay. And he said, just put in the leave. I left like my usual desk stuff, my bottle, my jacket, So I went to the
Mm.
doctor. When I got there, yeah, I was actually tired and there was a queue. I didn't make an appointment, so I had to wait. And that's when the doctor picked up that you've got high blood pressure. He was stunned, because he's like, what's happening? You've been fine the whole time. I think he was just shocked and surprised. So um so he admitted me. He said, let me admit you just to monitor you. So they admitted me at that Netcare hospital to monitor me, just to see if my blood pressure will go down, and it just didn't. They would wake me up every 2 hours to check my blood pressure, and it just wasn't going down. I remember
Mm.
this nurse giving me a massage. This Indian nurse, she came with some menthol thing, and she said, "There's you ladies. There's a lot of you that come like this. You guys are all stressed, I'm like, I'm not stressed. And she's like, you guys are stressed. And she rubbed me, and she said to me, I'm not gonna wake you up this 2 hours. It's making things worse for you. So that nurse
Mm.
rubbed me. She rubbed me over here on my temples. She just gave me a rub, and she's like, I'm on the shift. I'm not gonna wake you up. I'm gonna give you a chance to sleep. I don't know. I think she gave me a chance to sleep for a good 4 hours, because I've been woken up every 2 hours to take my blood pressure.
Mm.
And I remember my friend's mom. She's a gynae nurse for a long time. So I was talking to her, and the thing is, I knew about preeclampsia, but I just, when you don't know the impact of how dangerous something actually is, when she
Yes.
heard, and she's like, I must send her the readings. I was sending her the readings, and she would call me like 3 times a day from the UK. She's in the UK now. And I'm like, okay, I get she cares, but like, she's calling me. every- and I think
Mm.
she knew, like, she has seen what could happen when that, because she's been a gynae nurse for so long, but she's overseas
Mm.
now. And I look back and I'm like, wow, that support was amazing. At that time, the thing with preeclampsia is that you don't feel sick, you know?
Yes.
They say
Yes.
high blood pressure, you feel okay. I'm sure you can
Mm.
relate. How did you feel?
Mm. So for me, I felt fine. I was also very, very swollen. I thought it's just pregnancy. And somebody actually picked it up. I think I posted a picture on WhatsApp, and one of the ladies who is a mom, she has quite a few kids, and she's like, you're swollen. And I'm like, no, like, No, it's pregnancy.
It's a
And
different
then,
kind of swelling. Mm.
yes, but because it was my first time, I just thought, and I thought I was the most beautiful woman ever to walk this earth. Only
And you
afterwards,
do
when I
look
look at the
beautiful.
pictures, yes, but only afterwards when I look at my pictures, and I'm like, how did I not see that I do not look okay?
Yep.
Um, yeah, and then I felt fine. I only started not feeling okay after I went to the doctor, and then they gave me, I think it was aspirin, after they detected protein in my urine. My blood pressure was a bit high, well, very high. Um, and then they gave me something, but they didn't explain to an extent where I would understand the impact this is having on my body and on the baby.
That's another
And I'm so
thing. They don't want to
grateful.
stress you. They don't want to
Yes.
stress you,
So,
which
so
it's
for
a
me,
double-edged sword.
I'm grateful that they didn't explain to that extent because I think
Mm.
that would have been on my mind even more. So I was like, okay, I just need to give birth. I'll be fine. And then I started seeing stars. So that's also one of the symptoms where you see stars. If you have low iron levels, sometimes when you get up too fast, you'll see stars. So people who are anemic will relate to that. But it's a bit different. Um, so those are some of the symptoms that I started experiencing that. And the doctor told me if I experience that, I need to come to the hospital. And that's when I went to the hospital. So for me, it is only until like last minute when I was hospitalized where I wasn't feeling okay. But I think that's also because I was told that I'm not okay.
You think so? So you would see stars when, like, when you are
It'll
running
be
or walking fast or
no,
getting
it'll
up.
be random. So for me, I think I was laying down and I just looked up and I saw stars and I thought, okay, it's time for us to leave. So that's also one of the signs of high blood pressure. So it's headache,
Yeah.
um, seeing stars, being off balance, swelling.
Mhm.
Yeah, it'll differ for each person, but
Were you
that's one of
taking
the
your
signs.
prenatals?
Yes,
Were you
I was
taking your
taking
prenatals?
everything. Yeah, I was taking everything I supposed to. The doctor told me, it's not your fault. You did everything right. It's just that unfortunately these things happen.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we were some of the women that experienced it. So that
Mm.
that was yeah, that was part of my experience. But I wish I knew, unlike you, sorry, my nose is a bit blocked. Unlike you,
Mm.
I did not know that such existed. So I wish
Oh,
that I knew beforehand so that I knew the symptoms so that I would see it before it reached that point. Because a lot of women
yeah.
don't know. Because I've spoken to people that have
That
healthy
is the
little kids
sad
and I'm
part.
yes,
And
they're like,
I've
what
heard
is that?
stories. I've heard stories that make me so, emotional and a bit angry, because
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, some doctors just don't know what to do, especially GPs. They don't know what to do. They just they just keep you. I don't know whether it's a thing to keep you as a customer, but they just keep you coming and they tell you there's nothing wrong, or they give you stuff that's not going to help you. So I
so
would
I
say,
also,
what, if you've got high blood pressure
mm,
and you can't afford a gynae, for instance, just go straight to the hospital. If you can, whether it's private,
mm,
whether it's, if I actually feel like probably academic public hospitals can assist you better than some of just the moment you have high blood, just don't be dealing with one doctor. If you have to go to a GP, don't deal with a GP.
mm,
I've just heard a few stories that were not, you know,
mm,
and I'm thinking back to that other case where, you know, this person lost their child. And I remember how she
mm,
looked. She looked like she was swollen. It's just that at that time, I mean, 20, is it, what is it, 20, is it 2014? Yeah, I had no idea. And actually, some of the celebrities have had this. Kim Kardashian had it. Um,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's there.
Beyonce.
It's there in the news. She's had it, and
Mm,
yeah, I read also Beyonce. My sister told me Beyonce had it.
mm,
So it can develop very
mm.
late in your pregnancy. So as you say, it's not talked about, and some doctors actually don't even know how to deal with it. So I just want to carry on with my story because I want to say this part where about what I was given for it, and it was just, yeah, I went to my specialist doctor. So I'm in Durban now. I'm still in Durban. Can I carry on with the story?
Can continue.
Yeah, so I'm there in the hospital in Durban now. So my mom's a nurse.
Mm,
She couldn't even look at me. She was like, I can't even look at you. Like, I can't even look at you. And I'm like, ouch. But I think she was very scared. So I'm in Durban in the hospital. So I could tell this doctor, the one in Durban, the gynecologist, because I just went, I always go strictly to gynecologist. So he he didn't, looking back, I don't think he knew what to do. He was scared. He was like
mm,
looking at, he was like, So I said to him, okay, you're waking me up every 2 hours, and then my blood pressure's not, I know my blood pressure's not coming down. Can you release me? And then I'll just come to your, if I'm not feeling well, I'll come to your practice, you know?
mm,
So actually, when I spoke to my mom's like, okay, when he writes you a sick note, make him like, at least ask him to give you a week so that you can come this side to your original gynae. So I had a gynae this side at Kastanov, and he's got extensive experience. So he's been at Steve Biko. He's well known. So I was like, Mom, good idea. So I tell him, I'm like, can I please? I need to go on a flight back to Joburg too. And he was scared for me. He's like, you're showing signs of preeclampsia. I said to him, I'll buy a blood pressure machine and I'll send you my readings. So for him to let me go, he was a bit reluctant, and yeah,
mm,
but I'm glad he did. So he let me go, wrote the letter, and then I flew here to Joburg. Then I went to go see my original gynae. I just used to see him for like your woman stuff, pap smear, before I was pregnant. So
mm,
I went to him, and then obviously the nurse will test you, take your high blood pressure before you see the doctor. And yeah, obviously
mm,
she's like, "Oh, your blood pressure's up." I'm like, I know it's up. I was in the hospital in Durban. So, but when I saw doctor, he's like, "You're not going anywhere with this high blood pressure. I'm admitting you now." So I said to him, "No,
mm,
I'm going back to Durban on Wednesday. Like the doctor only wrote me a week's leave. It's like you're not gonna catch any flight to go anywhere. Your life is in danger. And the
mm,
worst part about it is like I'm smiling about it because, guys, I did not feel any pain. I felt
mm,
fine. So when you feel fine and people are saying this to you, there's a thing in your mind that's like, oh, they're exaggerating. I'm okay. Yes, I know I
yeah,
have the high blood pressure. I have the protein in my urine. I probably do have the preeclampsia, but I feel fine. It's not bad. I feel fine. And then they check the baby, they strap you in. Okay, there's the baby. But then he pointed out something that really worried me is like, your baby is not growing as she should. Because I sent him
good
all the
stuff.
results and he
Sure.
compared. Um, the last time he went to the doctor was this many kgs or grams. Now we're here, and he says your baby is not growing the pace at which your baby is growing. So he's very thorough. He's very detailed. So you need a doctor like that in cases like this, hey? And
Mm,
that really caught my attention because I'm like, oh my goodness, my baby's not growing. That means my baby, you know, small and premature, or I know if they have to take, because I knew what would be the end of it. If I have preeclampsia, they're gonna have to put me in an emergency labor, and they're gonna have to what's the word? deliver the baby earlier. I knew about all of
mm,
that with preeclampsia. So I'm like, now my baby's not growing fast enough, which means that's a real problem because I need my baby to grow so that I can take my baby home, you know? So I said to him, you
mm,
know what? Fine. So he admitted me. And then, yeah, I don't know. He just wrote a very long script. It was very long.
mm,
I think what that was the amount of injections that I was supposed to get, the steroids. So they give you steroids. I think that's I don't know whether to call it the treatment or that's what they do. They give you the steroids in hospital. I think to
mm.
stop you
Okay, can I just
from
intervene? So the steroids are to help with the baby, and
oh
also okay, I don't know, yeah, it's to help the baby in terms of lungs, because the lungs are premature. I
yes,
know they also give you injections for because you're laying and you're not active, so you don't get blood clots.
yes.
Yeah, yeah,
And also to stop you from fitting because what like
yes,
you were seeing stars when your high blood
mm,
pressure is so high you can have an is it a epileptic
seizure,
attack,
yes,
yeah, which is what happens to
mm,
most women. They go to the bathroom and the next thing they find themselves in an emergency room. They've
mm,
delivered the baby and they're like, where am I? That's when they have so these injections. I do believe yes, the some of it was the blood clot. I remember the lungs. Those two injections burn. I don't know if they were
mm,
burning for you. They burned for
yes,
me. So
yes.
altogether that day they gave me 16 injections,
You still
including the
remember?
ones for the lungs. And I remember it was on my right, you know, buttocks area. That part was
Yeah.
so hard, even like months after. So I think all those injections were to try and stop me from fitting. So yeah,
Mm,
the 16 injections when I was admitted, probably they helped me. I spoke to the doctor. I begged him. I said, let me give me a more chance so that my baby can grow, so that my baby won't have to be in neonatal. So
yeah.
he's like, are you sure you want to do that? And we spoke about it, and he's like, I need you to do a kick chart. So he taught me how to do a kick chart. I need to listen to my baby's kicks, depending on how often your baby kicks, but you need to check that your baby's kicking. Eat certain foods or make sure that your baby's kicking. You can't go maybe half a day without your baby kicking.
Mm,
So I bought all
yeah.
these shakes, but they didn't help. From my experience, they didn't help. My baby just stopped growing. So yeah, so I used to go to the hospital. Actually, they just used to say, just walk in. Don't even do a pre because my medical aid needed a pre-authorization. Yeah, it was that case where the nurse, the sister, the matron was like, just walk in. Just walk in. Just come in
Mm,
and we'll help you. We'll always have a place for you. So yeah, so I went for the last day, the day I was gonna deliver. I was still, yeah, I pushed. I think just over 7 months. Yeah, I pushed for that week, probably just under 10 days to try and get my baby to grow. Can you give me a chance? I'm in an interview. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Roman.
mm,
Um,
something.
so yeah, it didn't work. The baby didn't grow. I think part of me now, looking back, I should have just let him deliver the baby because I think I was putting myself at more risk. But
Mm,
I think the doctors knew that I had knowledge. I knew about everything. That's why even when I would talk to them, I would know the full implications. They know that I know the full implications of carrying on with my baby inside of my belly with the risk. You know, it's just I was hoping that if I just eat more, my baby will grow, but it didn't happen. and that was just to avoid the baby being in neonatal. So if the baby comes early and they over 2 kilograms, I could take my baby home. I knew
Mm.
all about this, so the day I delivered, I went for a checkup. I was at home. I went for the checkup, and funny enough, they put me under that machine. They checked my blood pressure as usual, and my blood pressure was okay that day. I was shocked, you know. And then they put me under, what do you call that belt to check the baby?
I
Is it,
forgot the
the
term.
ultra?
Yes, but I'm sure everyone will know. I forgot the term.
Yes, that ultrasound where they put the belt around you and they check the baby's movements and if the baby's in distress. Yeah, so they did that for a while. I even fell asleep. And then the next thing I see my doctor and I'm like, what are you doing here? Then he came to explain to me that no, this is showing that, remember, he says, remember how I showed you how those lines go? It's showing that the baby's in distress. So
Mm.
I said, okay. So he says, they're gonna repeat it, and then if it comes out the same, then we're gonna deliver the baby now. I'm like, wait, now my husband is in Dubai, he's gonna come, just wait for him, wait a few hours.
Yeah.
Me being silly. And they were just like, no. Um, so I asked the nurse the second time, I said to her, okay, so how is it? And she's like, not bad, not good. Nurse. What am I supposed to make out of that? But I understand they don't want to stress you. So
Yes.
yeah, then they prepped me for labor, and then yeah, we delivered the baby. Yeah, it was yeah, kind of rushed, and yeah, and my baby was delivered. Yeah, it was hectic. It was not, that experience was, yeah, it's so vivid in my mind. I don't know whether I'm emotional about it because that's not how I pictured how I wanted to deliver. Yeah, I guess yeah, I was redeemed, or rather, my next two pregnancies were better. So it was almost like a trauma, the way I delivered. For me, it was a bit traumatic, you know. My baby was very tiny, 1.3 kgs, but very strong. I mean, my mom's a nurse. She was with me in the delivery room. And she said, when I heard your baby cry, I said, whew, I'm going back to work tomorrow. This baby is healthy, you know? She wouldn't
Mm.
know. She was belting out screaming. So apparently that is a sign to say the baby's healthy. But yeah, from then it was just neonatal. I'm sure any any mother that's had a child in after delivery in neonatal ICU can relate for whatever reason, even if it's not preeclampsia, just those visits and just longing to take your baby home.
Mm.
Yeah, but luckily with me, I think from that day when they said the baby's in distress, that was the last time I ever had the preeclampsia. So it stopped before I gave birth, but then my baby was in distress. So I don't know whether
Mm.
my something gave up, maybe my placenta, I don't know. Then my body was going back to, it's almost like maybe my baby, my body was somehow fighting for itself and probably stopped trying to protect the pregnancy. And maybe that's why, I don't know. I have many thoughts about it, maybe theories. Maybe some research will make me make sense of it because that's the day it stopped, even just before I gave birth. But the baby was in distress, and someone said it's, yeah, the doctor said it was cord around the neck also, the umbilical cord.
Umbilical cord.
So yeah, it's just a mystery that day. As I said, it's in my mind. It was a beautiful day. At the same time, it was traumatic, And then
Mm.
when you go back home without your baby, I mean, the nurses were so reassuring. Oh, all the nurses, without me even asking, they would all come to me and just say words of encouragement, words of encouragement. And when I got home to my mom's house, and then we opening the gate, I just this grief came over me. I cried so hard, and I was fine the whole time. I just broke down and I cried. I went to the back of the house and I cried. I cried, and I can't even tell you. I think it's that psychology in your mind that's like, I was pregnant and I'm coming back with nothing, you know? And I
Mm.
was like, I look back on that and I'm like, imagine mothers that actually lose their children. Like, it, yeah, it was so random. The way that those emotions were so, I didn't even see them coming. They just came over me and I cried so hard. And the nurses had just kept my spirits up. They were encouraging me. I was fine the whole time until I was at my mom's gate, and the psychology of in my mind, it dawned on me that you left here pregnant, now you're coming with nothing. You know, I think that voice in my
It's
mind,
also
sure, that was traumatic.
it's
So
also a form
yeah.
of relief because of the traumatic experience that you went through. And now it's a case of I went through all of that and I'm going home and I'm leaving my baby there. And that stress of having your baby in hospital and you away. There's also an added layer. For me, it is very different. I gave birth, so my journey started in private care, and then
Mm.
I ended up giving birth at a public hospital. It was an academic hospital. You spoke a bit about that, that you feel like it may be better to give birth at a public academic hospital. So I gave birth there, and it was a very different experience to what I would have thought it would have been. I
Mm.
felt like I was taken care of. I felt like my child was taken care of. Okay, fine, you'll have some medical staff that, aren't so nice. I experienced that with some nurses that
Even in
were
private is
horrible.
there. Even in
Yes,
private is
it's
there.
everywhere. It's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So besides that, in terms of the care that my son was under, oh, it was superb. They force you as a mom to stay there until your child is discharged. So they have a ward for moms. And then you go every 2 hours to NICU, to breastfeed, to express. Every 2 hours you walk up. And that 2 hour break that you have in between you going up and down is for you to eat, phone call, use the toilet, yeah, sleep. So you can just say every hour because you sleep for 1 hour, you're on the phone updating loved ones. I was still healing from my C-section. So I was there walking up late at night, all hours of the day and night. So my experience is very different. Um, I was grateful that I got to stay, even though when I was in hospital, it felt like I was there for months and months at end when I was only there for 2 months. Um, and I just wanted to be with family because I needed that support because there was no support in hospital in terms of, you can just be like, I just want to rest or I just want to relieve. It wasn't that, but I'm still grateful that I was in hospital. But I did experience grief in terms of, when you have bonds with other moms, sorry I sound like this, my nose is blocked. When you create
Mm-hmm.
bonds with other moms, because you're sleeping next to each
Mm.
other, and you just fed your baby. You come down to the ward, next thing there's a phone call, a mom is being called, she goes up, she comes back, she packs her thing, we get told that the baby passed away. And that plays on your mind 24/7 when you're there. Because you keep thinking, when I leave that ward, what if something happens? What if I get that phone call? So it was traumatic for me in terms of experiencing that. Because you make friends, you see the baby, and then it's a case of the baby's gone. You're like, but we were all expressing together. We were feeding the baby with a tube because they're so small they can't uh, they can't latch and you can't feed them with a bottle. So it's the
Yeah.
tube that goes down.
NG
So
tube,
you
yeah.
feed them, yes. And then you're like, how did this happen? So that was very traumatic for me. And yeah, that whole experience. I feel like in terms of not just government, but also maybe private, I don't have experience with privately, but in terms of that process needs to be carried out in a way that is more empathy displayed and more privacy displayed. And even in terms of counseling, because I think Bob, even though we didn't lose a child, we also needed a case of, we just need to sit together, have a psychologist to speak about our emotions and what we're going through. So that process was non-existent for me. Fine, the psychologist came there and said, you know what, Abia, this is my number, but I'm just like, we don't have time. We don't have time to sleep, to eat, to phone. Where are we going to have time to now, seek your services? So I feel like that needs
Mm.
to be carried out more appropriately. And then you also spoke about uh, your journey and the fact that some doctors don't know what to do in severe cases like preeclampsia. And in my case, we had escalated to HELLP syndrome, where you had a doctor that was like, basically, I don't know what to do with you, but to keep you here. I feel like there the human aspect does come in play where it's like, oh my gosh, fine, I studied this, I'm practicing, but maybe I've never experienced a patient like this. So now the
Yeah.
human aspect is taking over my professional, um, what I'm supposed to display professionally. So that's why we
Mm.
have to be really discerning, as you said, in terms of choosing doctors, gynecologists, where if you're not feeling okay or you've been diagnosed with something quite severe, seek a second opinion. It doesn't hurt. It's for your
100%.
own benefit. And trust your
Yep.
instincts, like how you trusted your intuition in terms of, I need to move from here. So I feel like we also need to listen to our intuition as well as loved ones, like your mom. Your mom is a nurse. She's more informed. Um, so you actually listening to your intuition and following it through,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
With that
also being
headache,
knowledgeable.
she told me, she said, if you have a headache, the way you're so swollen, because I said, here's my results. She did look at my clinic card, my, what do you call it, visit card, and she said, everything looks fine. She read it and she
Yeah,
said, everything looks fine. But she said, when you get a headache, just go to the doctor. And that's what I remembered,
yeah,
you know. And funny, yes, that on that day, my blood pressure was high. So, as being pregnant,
yeah,
yeah, you need that support. You need good professionals around you. And I mean, yeah, my previous gynae told me a very scary story about a preeclampsia case because obviously you get your history. He was not the same doctor that delivered my first. So he was asking
yeah,
me, what how did how did you deliver and just my background. So when I told him and he just remembered a story and he was telling us and he said, um so there was this GP, this GP doctor. So this woman was going to this GP doctor, and she had preeclampsia. And again, when you don't know anything about it, you just take what the doctor's telling you. With me, I had prior
mhm,
knowledge. I think I would have said, So, um, he didn't know what to do with her. I could call it stringing along because he would see her, she would have the high blood pressure, and he would just say, no, if you have a problem, just call me. So in the end, he could see that, okay, this is bad. And this doctor was saying, my gynae, my previous gynae, my
yeah,
latest gynae was saying, what he did, he basically wrote like a letter referral. So this is when he saw that, okay, she's in a bad state. He wrote a referral, for this patient to go see him. Oh, okay. So he wrote like a last minute referral for
Mm,
for the patient. He said go to that gynae, you know. And remember gynaes and yeah, and midwives or people in that they don't like taking someone who's already far along because they don't know your history.
mm,
They don't like that. But yeah, if you have to, you go. If you have to change doctors, that shouldn't stop you. With that being said, but
yeah.
this one GP just wrote a referral. This is his story. Wrote a referral. Go see that guy. And then when they got there, they said, "Okay, doctor, we're looking for you. This is my doctor said I must come see you. This is it." And by then, I think the nurse had taken her vitals and everything, and she was in a bad state. So he said, I could not help her. Otherwise, it was on me. If something should happen
Mm,
to her, it was on my shoulders. And he said, I was so angry when I talked to her and she told me her history and he didn't know what to do with her and he stringed her along for whatever reason. So he
mm,
said, I delivered the baby. And then he said he confronted that doctor and he said, if you ever do such a thing, I'm watching you. I will report you and you will get disbarred. You never ever do
mm,
something like this. So that was his story that he told us. That's why he would just roll his eyes like, he says, if there's something wrong with you, but I'm not discrediting GPs or anything, guys. This is just the story that he was telling me. So he says he's a gynae himself. He believes, if you're pregnant, you should go to a gynae, but not everyone can afford a gynae, realistically speaking, you know. But
mm,
he was saying, if you've got, for instance, if you've got eye issue, you go to the eye doctor. If you've got, but yeah, that was a chat that me and him had to say, what, yes, I hear you, but people don't have money for that. But then again, it's
mm,
like an awareness thing that why would you string along someone you can see that the vitals are not okay? Why don't you maybe refer them right then and there? Why are you stringing them along? So I think
mm,
again that it's a good thing. This awareness is good. I think it should just be, I don't know how pregnant women can be made more aware to watch out for this thing because it's so common and it creeps up on you and you feeling fine and it doesn't help that some doctors will string you along knowing very well what kind of danger you're in and they just take chances
mm,
with you and they don't just give you the full picture. Fine, you don't want to stress someone, but give them a full picture and say, you know what, I can't do anything for you. Try this person, you know? So
mm.
I just think, yeah, more awareness. I think if you're aware, you're in a better position, you know? If you're aware
Mm,
and I mean, it doesn't make sense that the doctor can just say, oh, no, just call me when you're not feeling. You can see that they're not putting effort. Is your baby growing? What's happening now? What's the plan? Because now, if you have high blood pressure, chances are you're gonna give birth by C-section.
mm.
The- I don't think they can. Yeah, usually it's a risk. You are high risk. I don't believe
Yeah,
they can make you do natural birth. I don't think. Yeah,
so
I've never heard that.
it's
But yeah,
very,
it's we need awareness on this thing. I think that can save lives. It can save the
yes.
baby's life, the mother's life, because the risks of it is the results can be very ugly. I mean, the mother and the child can both pass away, or the child can
Mm,
pass away, or the mother can
mm,
pass away and leave the child. So it's a very it's as much as you may feel fine, it's a very dangerous thing. I don't know whether to call it a disease. What is it? Is
they
it a
do term
disease?
it an illness.
Condition?
They do term it an illness while you are pregnant. It is termed an illness. But I do strongly feel like every pregnant woman should have a blood pressure monitor um, at home. We weren't one of those, but I mean, going forward, pregnant women should have a blood pressure monitor just
Mm.
so that they can monitor while they are at home. I think that would make
100%.
a great difference. And of course, being aware of the signs and symptoms and the loved ones, the support system also knowing the signs and symptoms of preeclampsia, so they can
I
also
love
assist.
that. Mm.
Mm.
And I mean, it's not a case of, oh, I don't want to look because it's going to make me nervous. The sooner you know, the better. I mean, I've heard of
Yes.
babies that were delivered at under 1 kilogram that live. So the most important thing is life. So um, I think it's something that it should be welcome to have a monitor, just like you have a, a temperature, what do you call it, a thermometer, should have a blood
Temperature.
pressure. I love that, Ronlyn. And also, let me add, with me, obviously I had that, and then with my next pregnancies, and I also had, my mom gave me the, the test strips to test the urine, so you can actually test your urine yourself. So just
Okay.
maybe ask your doctor how to read it. The nurse will tell you how to read it. So my mom would,
Mm.
I think you can find them at Discam. She would bring me the
Okay.
test strips. She would buy them for me. And then I would test my urine and you can just check it yourself, you know?
Okay, I never knew that. That's great.
You can buy them over the counter and then check your urine yourself. Maybe weekly or every 3 days, and then your high blood pressure as well. So the sooner you with preeclampsia, the sooner you know the better, because you don't want it
Mm.
to creep up on you where you collapse, and goodness knows where you are but when that happens. And if you can, you get help. That's just another, yeah, we don't want it to get there. So
And another thing with preeclampsia is that your blood pressure increases at a rapid rate. So it's all of a sudden the numbers just keep going up.
they just keep going up.
Grateful for you. Grateful for you where it actually just came down before your face. But I've never heard of that.
I do believe probably it came down. As I'm saying, the only explanation that I can think of is my baby was fine. My blood pressure was high. My baby's in distress. Now my blood pressure came down. I don't know whether
Mm,
my body now was not working to keep the baby alive, or the placenta, or my body was trying to
possibly.
expel it, or it was not, so
Mm,
it, my baby was, and my baby was in distress, even though I felt fine and my high blood pressure was. So I don't know what to make of that. But
yeah.
still, I was in danger. My baby was in danger. So,
Mm,
but yes, I am lucky. Mine didn't carry over even after. But yeah, I think
mm,
when you, as soon as you become pregnant, just have those things. I think a blood pressure monitor, it's not too expensive. You can get it, and those test strips to test your proteins. Pee in a cup.
yes.
Yeah, we all know how to use them. You dip it in your
Mm,
urine or you put it over your running urine. I prefer to dip it. Just get an old container or something. So that
okay.
can save lives. So immediately when you see it, then you can say, is it too dark, or yeah, those test strips.
Mm,
I think if you can just get your nurse, doesn't have to be a doctor, to help you to read it. And I presume if you're seeing someone or a doctor, generally you will have their contact details or their WhatsApp. So if you're probably thinking it's dark, or you don't, you can even send them a picture to say, is this okay? You send them
yeah.
that picture of the urine, the blood pressure, or yeah, you can just learn how to read it. Then you sort yourself out that way.
So I just want to know, in closing, what is
Mhm.
something that you would like to pass on to your kids? Something that's non-materialistic, something that they will always remember mom by. either something they'll be doing in their parenthood or something that they will carry through life. But what is
Sure, I struggle with that question. I really struggle with that question because I feel like I'm growing and I might change. But I think the general stuff that won't change, that I know even when I'm 50, I won't change that. Um, but I want to pass on to my kids, or instill. So is it something that they see me doing or something that it's a lesson that I would like for them to.
it can be something that you would like to instill in them that they will always remember and carry through that life or practice in life or pass down to their kids.
What does it have to
Anything non-materialistic.
oh I mean, the first thing that comes to mind that they is the Lord, is for them
Mm,
to know that I'm a mom, I'm their mom, I'm raising them, and they've got their dad, and but for them just to know the Lord wherever they are in life, um,
mm,
whatever they may be going through, whatever life dishes out at them, they must just always know that they're not alone and they can always run to God. And even that small
yeah.
prayer in that stressful time where you don't know what is happening on you, they can just always chant and call the Lord. If I can pass that on to them and they can practice it, no matter how stressed they are, what level in their life they are, whether they now in primary school, I mean, kids have their own kind of stress, whether they're being rejected by friends or partners one day or jobs, and they must just know that they're good enough. They're good enough, even if they're not top of their class or they I don't know, they don't have fancy careers or they don't make a lot of money. Just that self-worth, and that self-worth, it's for me, it's tied to spirituality, it's tied to God, no matter what, even if I mess up, God is God loves me, and he's merciful, and I can run to him and feel worthy, you know?
Mm,
I don't know. I think for me, I would love for my kids to have that. I feel like that's the foundation of everything, where even if you don't see the light, even if things are just that messed up, you still have the energy to get up when you think about, you know what, I'm not going to give up. We all have challenges. The challenges never stop. I mean, just motherhood itself. I mean, when
mm,
you've got multiple kids and they just everything is staring at you, and sometimes you just chant a little prayer that God, can I please get through this hour, this, and you just see yourself
yes,
doing it, and God just I don't want to say magically, but um he gives you that strength.
yeah,
I mean, God, I don't know whether I can equate God to a placebo effect, but I know in that moment I need God. I know I know a motivational, when you switch on the YouTube and they say, those motivations of YouTube. It's not the same as when
mm,
I'm on my knees, you know, I'm on my knees, crying out to God, even if it's figuratively on my knees, where I just feel very low and I call to God. Doesn't
yes,
I don't have to be on my knees physically. I'm just on empty, 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 and I know whatever darkness, whatever it is, I can call on the Lord. I think that I don't know if you can pass that on. I'm just hoping that they get it and grasp it and run with it. I feel like, yeah, that's the foundation of everything. Obviously, respect yourself. Yeah, but it just all
yes,
comes from there, and then the respect, then the having, kindness, being
mm,
empathetic. I mean, I feel like God is the foundation. I mean, all of that stuff is in the Bible. Not to say
mm,
I read the Bible all the time like I would like to, but I feel like if my kids are grounded in God,
mm,
they can do anything. Even if they fail, God is there. So that's the one thing
mm.
I'm hoping. And I wish I could do more. Wish I could do more Bible readings with them and what other parents are doing to get it right. I wish I can have that roadmap, but I'm praying and
Mm.
hoping that they get it. Yeah.
And they will. It's something that, you instilling in them. And there is no correct roadmap to parenting. There might be other parents looking at you and they're like, I hope that I could, do that for my kids or fulfill a certain aspect of their lives the way you do. So I think you're doing a great job. Um,
Ah,
yes. So yeah, let's not be
you're
very hard
doing
on
a
ourselves.
phenomenal job. You are marking history territory, and I hope this grows. Yeah, I pray this just blossoms and grows because I can just imagine somebody that was in my shoes, and I know I'm not the first, I'm not the last, I wasn't the
Mm,
only at that time. So it's bound to happen to someone or in someone's life. So if this can be a positive, what you're doing now, it's going to be a positive, informative thing for someone that's going through this. Either somebody that already knows about their condition, they're going to feel not alone, they're going to feel comforted.
mm,
People that don't know anything about this will now go on Google and actually, or AI, ChatGPT, and
yes,
it'll tell them exactly what it is, and then they're aware of
mm,
it. And this thing, it has no age. So you know how they say after 35, me and you had a previous conversation about this. Oh, you high risk,
yes,
whatever. You can get it when you're 19 or
mm,
whatever age.
true,
It doesn't have an age. It doesn't say because yeah, I had it when I was 28. I was turning 29 that year. My understanding
yeah,
is that anyone can
yeah,
get it at any age. So you can't put it in a box to say it's only late 20s people that get it. So
mm,
okay, the point I'm trying to make is, yeah, with this platform, just for somebody to listen to it and Google and find out and get more information, it can be life-saving
yes, it
and
can,
comforting. So
yes.
you're doing a great job.
Thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much for being on the platform and sharing your journey, your motherhood journey, especially your
Thank you
journey
for
on preeclampsia and raising awareness, so people can be more knowledgeable and take the correct procedures regarding preeclampsia and even to try and prevent it from escalating. Thank you so much to the listeners and the viewers for watching this episode of Intent. Until next time, let's keep living with intent. Bye.
Bye.